Beyond the monetary gains derived from the judgment of the UK court nullifying the arbitration award, which was in favor of the Process and Industrial Development, also known as P&ID, the pronouncement, while indicting Nigeria's internal processes, opened a window for the country to reinforce her anti-graft stand. News Central's Uzonna Ononye tells us more.
A journey which began in 2010 and supervised by the then Minister of Petroleum, Rilwan Lukman, was to facilitate the development of the gas sector by establishing a plant in Rivers State. 2 years after, P&ID had not made any significant progress on the job, but chose to approach the London court with a claim of $11 billion in compensation. Between 2015, when the arbitration panel found Nigeria guilty of breach of contract, and 2019, when the UK court gave P&ID the rights to seize Nigeria's assets, which compelled Nigeria to appeal the judgment, it has become clear that the foundation of the contract was laid on corruption.
You cannot be talking about breach of a contract that has been tainted ab initio with fraud. And for me, that's a way that I think our legal system, our judicial interpretations should also look at to enhance confidence in commercial transactions in Nigeria.
Grace Tiger, a former director for legal services at the Petroleum Ministry, became a known name as she was arrested and remanded in prison over allegations of bribery and aiding the P&ID to secure the contract. Her name appeared severally in the latest judgment, where it was shown that she was heavily and frequently induced to maintain collaborative silence even while the arbitration process was on. Apart from the monetary value of this judgment, this may have provided Nigeria another window to show that the war against corruption does not just exist on the pages of newspapers.
These are indications that have affected us in other crimes of our national strata, considering the issues that have embellished the areas of our oil and gas, considering the subsidy issues, whereby companies will come without delivering any product and they'll get money because the system have allowed these kind of infractions.
With the understanding that Monday's judgment relates to the interests being claimed by the P&ID, the next question will be, what effect will the judgment have on the substantive matter of breach of contract? But as lawyers say, you cannot build something on nothing and expect it to stand.
What that means to me, in my own opinion, is that that contract is not null and void. P&ID did not carry out any of the functions that they were supposed to. They were supposed to, build a gas plant to offtake. The Nigerian government did not provide them any wet gas. So basically, no work was done, and they probably just saw some loopholes and decided to exploit it. So definitely the outcome is that to be thrown out of the courts.
This is not the end of discussion as far as the P&ID deal is concerned, but the big lesson for Nigeria can be found in a native adage which says, it is the rat at home that tells the one outside of the house that there is fish in the basket. Uzonna Ononye, reporting for News Central.
To discuss this, we're joined by Professor Abiola Awosika-Fapetu, Professor of Finance and Economics. And we're also joined by Aliyu Audu, Vice President, Nigeria-Irish Business Association. Thank you both very much for joining us. Let's start with you, Prof. What were the key factors that led to Nigeria's victory in the $11 billion P&ID case in the UK court? And what implication does this have for the country's economic stability and reputation?
I think from reading the transcripts of what transpired in the courts, I think those guys had a sort of disdain for Nigeria in their responses and their acceptance of paying bribe and of offering money to people. I mean, they were actually accepting that they were doing an illegal transaction. And so I think the disdain that they have for Nigeria was their own downfall, because everything that was put to them, they more or less just accepted that, okay, yeah, that's how it is, and that's how they are in Nigeria, and so Nigeria has a culture of gifting. I mean, it was disgusting. It was messy. And so there was no way that any court would find in their favor. Now, what does it mean for Nigeria? Well, first of all, not having to pay $11 billion is wonderful. I mean, this is just like, saved by the bell or saved by God, because there's no way that we would not have been impacted by that huge amount of money. And so for the present administration, it's good for them, because now we have something positive, that at least we're not paying this money. We have been found, the court has upheld the decisions for us, and so we're good. And I think that would be a booster, for this economy.
We certainly hope that Nigeria needs all the help it can get. Let's bring in Mr. Audu. Can you provide insights into the economic and financial aspects of the gas deal that led to the P&ID case, including how the terms were negotiated and the potential economic benefits or losses in this case?
Thank you very much. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't go into exact transactional legal details, but I can tell you the economic aspect of it.
Please go ahead.
Obviously, this has saved the country a lot of money, $11 billion. As we can see, you can imagine in the midst of this hardship, what we're going through, Nigerians are going through depreciating exchange rate, loss of revenue. We're looking for ways to support the economy, encourage manufacturing, etc. We have a new government. I mean, we just took off the subsidy because the country cannot even afford to pay subsidy. You can imagine now if we pay out this $11 billion. Sorry, if the judgment had gone the other way, that would bring a lot of untold hardship onto Nigeria and can lead us into recession, because, that is more than a year's forex for financing our imports, our forex transactions. So it has gone a very long way into saving Nigeria the embarrassment, and these resources now are going to be diverted, or rather, should I say, the new government will focus on improving the life of Nigerians rather than paying $11 billion to some foreign people who are just trying to defraud Nigeria. So it's a win-win for Nigeria economically. It's very positive. If it had gone the other way, I think by now Nigeria will be looking to go into recession. And borrowing, already you can see we are borrowing to finance the budget. Our debt burden is very high. Yeah. So it would have not augured well for Nigeria in any way or any manner.
All right, I'll come back to you, Mr. Audu. Let's come back to you, Prof. How do you think this court victory will impact Nigeria's overall approach to international business contracts and negotiations, especially in the energy sector moving forward?
Well, I think we're going to have to be very careful from now on. It shouldn't be business as usual. How could a company that it doesn't even have a website, they've never even done this before. So how do they go through and get such a contract? And so we have to be careful and know who we're dealing with. Put people, excuse me, put them through the works. Let them go through all sorts of screenings before we can even say, now we're going to give you a contract to work with Nigeria.
All right, Mr. Audu, in what ways will this victory influence Nigeria's attractiveness as a destination for foreign investment and the country's ability to secure favorable business deals in the future?
This is to show the whole world that Nigeria is not bad news as it was thought, because people would just jump onto the bad wagon and say, well, Nigeria is dubious and all that. Now we can see that the government was not actually dubious. Rather, it was the P&D that was dubious. So that will boost investors' confidence in Nigeria, especially at this time that we have a new government, we're looking for foreign direct investment. That will boost their confidence, and that would allow them to deal with Nigeria once again, on a very on a more confident level. So I think it's a win-win for us. Our rating in terms of our image outside and credibility will go up a step higher this time around, because the whole world can see that Nigeria, the government has actually been right, and rather it was a business that was some group of individuals trying to dupe Nigeria. So it's a positive thing for Nigeria, image-wise, business-wise is also positive, credit rating-wise is positive, so it's all positive for Nigeria, and it will boost investors' confidence in Nigeria. If it had gone the other way, I think investors would be running away from us right now.
All right, I want to ask,
we're having a lot of investment forums. The president just had the Nigerian Economic Summit. So all these things bring foreign direct investment, bring foreigners into Nigeria to look at what's happening.
All right, I want to actually
put our image. Thank you.
Sorry to interject. Thank you. I want to ask the Prof the same question. In what ways does this victory influence Nigeria's attractiveness as a destination for foreign investment and our ability to secure favorable business deals?
Well, just like the president said, I think it was his visit to UNGA. We're open for business. Now they know we're open for business. Nigeria has gone through a lot of negative reactions over the years, but now we're saying, come on in, and we're going to get everything right for you. And I'm sure that this government is working tooth and nail to make sure that we do get things ready for the foreign investors. I was looking at our inflation rate, the interest rates, and I deduced that what this government is actually trying to do is to create a right environment for foreign direct investment, so that when foreigners bring their money in, their money is safe, and when they put operations in place, their operations would create avenues for small and medium enterprises under their that function in their environment to thrive. So it's a look at the system from the top trickling down to the bottom. So yeah, this is a positive news for us, and it's a positive news for foreign investors as well.
Okay. Because
if we had such an albatross around our necks, immediately, I'm sure everything would go haywire. So right. Yes, we're open for business. Please come on in.
All right, Mr. Audu, I mean, there must be lessons that we've learned. The court wasn't so nice to Nigeria on its handling of the matter and how the lawyers behaved. What lessons can other nations, particularly in Africa, learn from Nigeria's experience with the P&ID case in terms of preventing similar disputes and protecting their economic interest in international contracts and agreement? And of course, on the other side of this question, I'll come back to you, Prof, to tell us about the lessons that Nigeria must not forget from this experience. Mr. Audu, over to you.
Okay, first of all, it's very important for us to look into the quality of our civil servants and the people that represent Nigeria and are put in high places. Integrity is very important. There's the allegation of bribery and so on and so forth. And this is not exactly good news. So we need to vet the people that are given public offices that are representing Nigeria in high places. And they have to be stiff penalties for such people. And if you're caught wanting, they shouldn't let you go. You must pay the price. Such penalties would stop people in the future from engaging in such activities. So the quality of the workforce is very, very important. We have Economic and Financial Crimes Agency. They have to come into action. And anybody found wanting should be punished according to the law. Nobody should be spared, because this is not only going to spoil Nigerian reputation if it had gone through, it's going to sink Nigeria into poverty. And you can imagine where we are now. And if we are to sink lower, a lot of lives will be lost.
All right.
So these are the things we have to look at. It's important that we have the right people representing us with the right character and right attitude in public places. And if not, then we should have penalties, stiff penalties for such people that are going to put the country, representing the country, and are going to put the country into such issues. They should be well penalized and not let go.
All right, now quickly, Prof, in 30 seconds, if you can, your final thoughts.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with Mr. Awoudu here. We're not totally free of a blame as far as we are concerned in Nigeria. Not the whole system, but some people within the system. I mean, even up until the arbitration, the case was heard, they were still, tempting people and making payments to people. And, so all of that has to stop. We have to find a way. Whatever happened to my name, my father's name, whatever happened, to where a sum of $200,000, you would now sell your country. So these deals are too big for just non-entities to be the ones in charge. And our ministers and our CEOs, our MDs of these parastatals, they need to open their eyes.
All right, Prof.
Make sure they are signing.
I'm afraid that's the much time will permit us on this part of Nigeria Tonight. Thank you very much to you for speaking with us, Aliyu, Audu, and of course, Professor Abiola Awosika-Fapetu. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.